Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Sunday morning session on the science of self-realization. So we've been discussing from this book since quite some time now. And today we are bringing to you a very wonderful topic called Truth and Beauty. So before we begin our session, let's offer our prayers to Prabhupada and Lord Krishna. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki jai. Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today's topic, called Truth and Beauty, is a very interesting one, which is actually an essay written by Srila Prabhupada for the Back to Godhead magazine. As you all know, Prabhupada started a magazine by name Back to Godhead in the year 1944 during his household life when he was managing a business and so many aspects. This is because his spiritual master had ordered him to preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Krishna in English to the English-speaking people. So based on that order, Prabhupada had begun his humble attempt with this tabloid called Back to Godhead. So this particular discussion of this topic of truth and beauty, which we're going to discuss now, appeared as an essay in his Back to Godhead tabloid in the year 1959. It's a very interesting one, going to give us a very profound principle, which is very much important principle mentioned in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So let us try to understand this carefully. And all these teachings and such wonderful understanding of the very deep truths, what is given in these Vedic scriptures, is all possible by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada only, because he has so nicely, in such a simple language, he has given us the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, that all of us, common people, can understand this and adopt those principles in our life. So we offer our most respectful obeisances unto him. So Prabhupada begins this essay with a question, whether truth and beauty are compatible. Right? There may sometimes be arguments about whether truth and beauty are compatible terms. Right? Mostly, these are all very philosophical topics. Truth and beauty, are they compatible or are they incompatible? It's a question. One would willingly agree to express the truth, one might say, but since the truth is not always beautiful, indeed it is frequently rather startling and unpleasant. How is one to express truth and beauty at the same time? Like many times, as our experience says, that what is actually truth may not be palatable, may not be acceptable, it may not be beautiful. What is the fact? Or what appears to be beautiful may not be the truth, is our experience, right? So this is the dilemma we are in right now. So Prabhupada is beginning his essay with this question, and a very wonderful, interesting topic for us. Why truth and beauty can be, whether truth and beauty can be compatible or incompatible. In reply, Prabhupada says, we may inform all the concerned that truth and beauty are compatible terms. In fact, this whole discussion today we're going to have is based on this particular question. Actually, truth and beauty are compatible, but in the material world, they are incompatible. In the spiritual realm or spiritual dimension, both of them are compatible. Indeed, we may emphatically assert that the actual truth, which is absolute, is always beautiful. So Prabhupada is making a very profound statement here that the actual truth, means the real truth, absolute truth, is always beautiful. Here comes the concept known as the absolute truth, which is always beautiful, and the mundane truth, or the ephemeral truth, or the phenomenal truth which we experience here. So-called material beauty, what we see, material truth, what we see. What is the difference between both of them? In fact, we have heard the statement, Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Right? The truth is so beautiful that it attracts everyone, including the truth itself. This is the meaning of the statement. Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Satyam is very auspicious and it is Sundaram. It is very beautiful also. But what is the truth actually? Is it mundane truth or material truth or spiritual truth or the absolute truth? That is the point of discussion now. So real truth or the absolute truth is always beautiful, is always attractive to everyone. Truth is so beautiful, absolute truth. It's so beautiful that many sages, saints, and devotees have left everything for the sake of that truth. It's a fact. The great saintly persons, sadhus, across the globe, we have seen how they have left the most opulent, most beautiful aspects in their life, which otherwise people think, why did they leave this? But they have got a better taste of the truth, not this mundane truth, absolute truth. Right? Prabhupada is giving Mahatma Gandhi's example here. Mahatma Gandhi, an idol of the modern world, dedicated his life to experimenting with truth. We know his Mahatma Gandhi's famous book, Experiments with Truth. And all his activities were aimed toward truth only. This should be the purpose of human life, actually. Right? We should be seeking for what is the reality, what is the truth in life. Why only Mahatma Gandhi? Every one of us has the urge to search for truth alone. But the truth is not only beautiful, but also all-powerful, all-resourceful, all-famous, all-renounced, and all-knowledgeable. Very deep philosophical principle Prabhupada is mentioning here. This is the purpose of human life, actually. All of us, if we settle down with what is that I'm supposed to be doing in my life? What is that? What is the purpose of life? What is the aim in life? What is the goal in life? And we settle down with something which is very temporary and which is very, situational. Then we will not be satisfied at heart. The scriptures say that if you're really intelligent, once that you've got a human form of life, you have got this intelligence to inquire about very profound understanding about the purpose of life. So here, very nicely, Prabhupada is mentioning that all of us are seeking for truth, but we are not finding the truth at all. We're searching for the truth. Actually, the real truth or the absolute truth, scriptures say that the truth is all powerful, all resourceful, all famous, all renounced, all knowledgeable. In fact, these are the very wonderful attributes which we are looking forward for. Anything we want to see as truth. Right? Somebody who is very powerful, or somebody who is very knowledgeable, we say, he's having truth in him. Like that. Whereas, that supreme absolute truth is having all these attributes. Unfortunately, in the present situation, people have no information of the actual truth. So indeed, 99.9% of men in all walks of life are pursuing untruth only in the name of truth. It is like you've been given a fake gold, thinking that it is gold. Gold covering only, but actually some other very cheap metal is there below that one thin cover of gold. So it's not real gold, but we are made to believe that it is real gold. That is the present day situation. We're accepting something untruth as truth. Very unfortunate. This is our present situation. So what it is, how it is, we'll try to understand. Prabhupada gives a wonderful story to make us understand this aspect. We are actually attracted by the beauty of truth. But since time immemorial, we have been habituated to love of untruth appearing like truth. The example of gilded gold, or the gold, fake gold, which appears like real gold, is what is our life right now. Therefore, to the mundaner, truth and beauty are incompatible terms. Because actually, from the absolute perspective or spiritual perspective, truth and beauty are very much compatible. That's why the statement Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram is there. So in this context, to make us understand this philosophical aspect of how truth and beauty are compatible from the spiritual perspective, from the mundane perspective, it is not compatible. Prabhupada explains a wonderful story called the story of liquid beauty. The mundane truth and beauty may be explained as follows. Once a man who was very powerful and strongly built, but whose character was very doubtful, fell in love with a beautiful girl. Like any love story, right? We see in movies or we read novels. So a very powerful and strongly built man, but whose character was doubtful, he fell in love with a beautiful girl. The girl was not only beautiful in appearance, but she also had one good quality, saintly quality in her character. And as such, she did not like the man's advances. Even though the man wanted to move forward to give proposal of love, the woman was not interested in one sense, because she was of saintly character. She didn't want to unnecessarily get into any affair. The man, however, was insistent because of his lustful desires. And therefore, the girl requested him to wait only 7 days. And she set a time after that when he could meet her. This affair of love is so, you can say, forceful, so impelling, that other person goes on pursuing, either man or a woman. And unless the other woman or man accepts, that's how the material world is. Material world is based on attraction between male and female. So when this man was very insisting and very forceful, the woman, the beautiful girl, give me 7 days. I will decide and tell you what to do. Or rather, I'll tell my decision. That was girl's proposal. So now that the man agreed, the man agreed with high expectations, he began waiting for the appointed time. At least now she has told 7 days. Otherwise, earlier she was not showing any interest. So he thought, okay, I have now achieved at least one milestone. So he thought, let me wait for 7 days. And that appointed that of the 7th day at a particular time, at a particular place, she had told you to come and meet me. So what happened? This wonderful saintly girl, in order to manifest the real beauty of absolute truth, she adopted a very instructive method. One nice thing she adopted. What she adopted? She took very strong doses of laxatives and purgatives, and for 7 days, she continually passed loose stool and vomited all that she ate. So this girl took some medicines by which she could vomit and pass loose stool, and continuously she was doing it for 7 days. Just imagine. Why? Because she wanted to tell this man she wanted to give a lesson to this man. What is absolute truth? What is mundane truth? So for this purpose, she had personally taken the austerity of making herself or putting herself into an experiment. So she had continuously vomiting and passing loose stool, diarrhea. When diarrhea happens, like that, and she became very weak and thin, and she had lost her all bodily color and everything. Continuously, she was doing this. Moreover, one more thing she did was she stored all the loose stool and vomit in suitable pots. And because of this, what happened? Because of the strong purgatives and strong laxatives, the so-called beautiful the so-called beautiful girl, she became lean and thin like a skeleton. Her beauty was completely changed. She was no more beautiful. Her complexion turned blackish. Her beautiful eyes sank into the sockets of her skull. You can just imagine when somebody is sick and continuously vomiting and diarrhea is happening, what will happen to that person? So this man was eagerly waiting. Thought 7 days, so 7th day, this girl has told me to meet. Thus at the appointed hour, she waited anxiously to receive the eager man. This man also was anxious, and this girl had given time. So the time came for meeting now after 7 days. So the man appeared on the scene, well dressed, well behaved, and asked the ugly girl he found waiting there about the beautiful girl he was to meet. Because he had come, like how we see in the movies and other TV serials, when boy and a girl have a date, how they all come well dressed. So like this man thought, now this girl has agreed for my proposal, let me go very nicely dressed and well behaved. And he went to the spot where that girl had told him to come. But for his surprise, he found that that girl was not there, but some other ugly girl was there. Very skinny, little pale, and then her eyes had gone into inside her socket. Like that, he found a very girl who was not very good in appearance. Actually, this man could not recognize the girl he saw as the same beautiful girl for whom he was asking. Actually, you see, in 7 days, that girl had transformed so much. She had become so weak and skinny that this man could not identify. Even though that beautiful girl was beautiful earlier, now she was no more beautiful. She repeatedly asserted her identity. But because of the total transformation in her whole appearance, because of her pitiable condition, he did not recognize her, or he was unable to recognize this girl. Finally, this girl took courage and told that powerful man that she had separated the ingredients of her beauty and stored them in pots. So she told him, please go and see, I have stored my beauty in those pots. She also told him that he could enjoy those juices of beauty. Right? See, such a wonderful instructive story it is. When the mundane poetic man asked to see those juices of beauty, he was directed to the store of loose stool and liquid vomit, which were emanating an unbearably bad smell. We all know how when stool and vomit is all there for some time, even for few minutes, it starts giving out very bad odor, bad smell. Just imagine for 7 days it is stored, and how much obnoxious smell it would be emanating. So this man also was getting very, very bad smell from those pots of vomit and stool. So in that way, this girl disclosed the story of the liquid beauty to this man. Finally, by the grace of this devoted saintly girl, and this man of low character was able to understand or distinguish between the shadow and the substance. And thus he came to his senses. Now Prabhupada explains the lesson we have to learn from this story. So this man finally understood what beauty we are seeing as beauty is not actually beauty. It is just our beauty is only vomit, stool, blood, urine, bone, all these things. But actually, a real beauty is something else. So in this way, Prabhupada is trying to explain to us what is inside our body, that is spirit soul, that is making our body beautiful. When the spirit soul is out, our body is no more beautiful. Or even spirit soul is there, but the body, which is going through so many transformations, sometimes it appears beautiful, sometimes it may not appear beautiful. It's like we see the film stars, celebrities. They are taken for their acting when they are young, youthful, beautiful. When they become little old, they are no more in demand, right? So this man's position was similar to the position of every one of us who is attracted by false material beauty, right? All of us are attracted to, oh, beautiful boy, beautiful girl. We want to see movies where there are young artists, right? So that way, our position also is like that. Always we're looking forward for something very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But all this beauty is only false material beauty. The girl mentioned above had a beautifully developed material body in accordance with the desire of her mind. But in fact, she was apart from the temporary material body and mind. It's a very wonderful principle. Prabhupada is explaining that whatever you see externally in our body as beauty and our wonderful, very attractive features, they're only for this body, is a dress. This body is a dress, as Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Right? Whatever you may say about this dress is all temporary. As I gave the example of how the film stars, when they're young and beautiful, they're all very much in demand. Same film stars, when they are old, little older, they are no more in demand. Right? So because people look forward for beautiful young people. So we have to understand this body, which may appear to be beautiful at one point of time, will be no more beautiful after some time, after some years. So this material body and the beauty what we're talking about are all temporary, flickering. That's what Prabhupada want to tell us. And so the girl was trying to give a lesson to this man, to tell him that actually you are only attracted to my bodily beauty, material body, material aspects, but you have to see the soul within. She was in fact a spiritual spark, and so also was the lover who was attracted by her false skin. Even that person is a spirit soul in a male body, and this girl in a female body, she is also a spirit spark actually, but they have got different dresses. Sometimes I may get a male dress, sometimes I may get a female dress, or I may get any dresses out of 84 lakh type of dresses, which nature will offer to me. So mundane intellectuals and aesthetics, however, are deluded by the outward beauty and attraction of the relative truth and are unaware of the spiritual spark, which is both truth and beauty at the same time. It's a wonderful concept Prabhupada is telling us about the relative truth. Mundane truths are relative truth. For time being, for a purpose, for a situation, for a circumstance, it looks actually fact, but it goes on changing. This is the nature of material world, constantly changing. This is the explanation Lord Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita about matter. Matter means continuously it is changing, constant flux it is going through. Whereas spirit does not change. Atma does not change. So one is called asat. Matter is called asat. Asat means temporary. Whereas spirit is sat, permanent. It is not going to change. It's going to last forever. That is the meaning of sat. Asatoma sadgamaya. The Vedic scriptures give us the instruction that we have to move from the temporary so-called material existence to the permanent spiritual existence. Tamasima jyotirgamaya. From this ignorant, dark world, we have to go to the all light, knowledgeable world of spiritual existence. Like this, Vedic scriptures give us these injunctions. That we should not be attracted to this false, flickering beauty of this material creation. The spiritual spark is so beautiful that when it leaves the so-called beautiful body, which in fact is full of stool and vomit, no one wants to touch that body, even if it is decorated with a costly costume. Right? It's a wonderful explanation by Prabhupada. As long as the spirit soul is there within the body looks so beautiful, so wonderful, so intelligent, everything. Once this spirit soul is out of the body, it is only actually body. What body means? Blood, stool, vomit, urine. No one wants to touch that body, dead body. Right? That is the situation. When it is living, everybody would like to, sir, autograph. Sir, we would like to take a selfie. Some photograph you want with you. Like this, everybody is behind a celebrity or a beautiful person. But once this spirit soul is out, nobody would like to even associate with that. So which means the spirit soul is the personality within that body, which is making the body beautiful. Once the spirit soul is out, it is no more useful, no more having any value. So with this, we come to a very important principle of understanding how we as spirit soul is connected to the supreme spiritual entity, Lord Shri Krishna. So in one sense, right now, all of us are pursuing a false relative truth, which is incompatible with real beauty. We are just running around this material world, looking for something very beautiful, something very powerful, something really knowledgeable, but we are not getting. That is what we are doing right now in the material world. We're looking for permanency, we're looking for knowledgeable aspect, we're looking for happiness, but we are not getting them. We're seeking after them, right? But we are not satisfied with what we are getting. But on the contrary, we are getting fake things. We are getting something which is not actually fact. We are encountering. So this is our situation right now in the material world. So we are all pursuing so-called truth or false relative truths, which is incompatible with real beauty. The actual truth, however, is permanently beautiful, retaining the same standard of beauty for innumerable years. This is exactly what I was trying to tell. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that about Sat and Asat. We as living entities are Sat or Satchidananda, it is called. We are eternally existing, full knowledge, and we are always blissful. That is our situation. But in the material world, our situation is opposite. Our situation is that we have a material body which is asat, not permanent. And we are full of ignorance, achit. And we are always in miseries. We are always in distress, nirananda. So, the real truth is actually Satchidananda. It is eternally ever existing with full knowledge and with all bliss. The spiritual spark is indestructible. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the body will be destroyed, but the soul is always ever existing. Avinashi tu tad vidhi. Krishna says, spirit soul is avinashi. The beauty of the outer skin can be destroyed in only a few hours, merely by a dose of a strong purgative. But the beauty of truth is indestructible and always the same. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that the soul cannot be cut to pieces by any weapon. It cannot be burned to ashes by fire. It cannot be moistened by water. It cannot be withered by the wind. This is spirit soul. Spirit soul is non-material. It doesn't, anything material doesn't affect the soul, but the body is destroyed eventually over a period of time. Whereas spirit soul is not affected by anything material. Unfortunately, the mundane artists and intellectuals are ignorant of this beautiful spark of spirit. Right? people get attracted to the bodily beauty, whereas they're not attracted to this spirit within the body. Spirit is making this body beautiful. As long as the spirit is there, the body seems to be beautiful. One more example Prabhupada gives. If you are told that this particular person, for a man, a woman, a man, okay, this particular person, beautiful person, he's no more now, dead, but why don't you marry that person? Would you be interested? Never. Dead person, how can you marry? Right? This is what it is. So likewise, we have to understand that the presence of spirit soul made that person, other person, beautiful, attractive, and very charming. Spirit soul is out of the body. That body is no more useful. It is, is dead matter. Such a profound, philosophical point that Prabhupada is making here. The mundane artists or intellectuals, they're all very well placed, or rather very respected in the society. Unfortunately, they are unaware of these aspects, they're ignorant of these aspects. That's why Prahlad Maharaj, one of the great devotees, says, Nate vidu swarthagatim hi Vishnu. People don't know what is the real interest, real self-interest. They're also ignorant of the whole fire, which is the source of these spiritual sparks. And they're ignorant of the relationship between the sparks and the fire, which takes the form of transcendental pastimes. So actually, Prabhupada is giving us a hint here, telling that we are spiritual sparks of fire. And the whole fire is Lord Krishna. We are all his parts. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhut Sanatana. We are all eternally part and parcel of Krishna. But this relationship we have forgotten right now. Right? In the spiritual world, Krishna is in a very blissful way, always enjoying his lila, his pastimes with all of us. But we have forgotten Krishna and come to the material world. That is our situation right now. So we are all spiritual sparks of fire. Krishna is whole fire. And we have our existence very happily situated in the spiritual world. This relationship is forgotten. It's a very important revelation Prabhupada is making here to make us understand our identity. Right now, we have forgotten our identity and we are thinking ourselves as something else. In this life, I'm thinking, I am this body, I belong to this family, I belong to this community, belong to this nation, and life goes on. After I die, where I go, we don't know. Prabhupada gives example how when you die, just like in a football stadium, the football is kicked by the different players in different directions. Which side the ball will go is very unpredictable. Likewise, our life right now we are going through a journey of life as a man, a woman in a particular situation. When the life ends, whether this body ends, body dies, where this soul will take one more body is like a football. Very little material nature will kick us, we don't know. That is the situation. But this is not actually the real life of all of us. We have assumed this as our real life. That is called false identification. So we have to come out of this false identification, misidentification. Sorry. Hare Krishna. So when those pastimes are displayed here by the grace of the Almighty, foolish people who cannot see beyond their senses confuse those pastimes of truth and beauty with the manifestations of loose, stool, and vomit described above. Again, the statement is very philosophical. Let me explain this. So Krishna, Lord Krishna, when he comes down and displays his Leela, 5,000 years ago, he came down to Vrindavan, particular tract of land in Vrindavan, and he displayed his wonderful Leelas, pastimes. So many pastimes he did. He lifted Govardhana hill, he killed many demons. He also performed Leela with his close associates called Gopis. He performed Rasa Leela. So people think that these pastimes of Krishna are all like ordinary affairs, ordinary activities. That is the problem. Because they somehow misunderstand the pastimes of Krishna to be like material activities, mundane activities. Mundane activities, Prabhupada is telling, they are like stool and vomit. They don't have any substantial truth, substance in it. They're all relative truths. Right now, it looks very good, but after some time, it is no more pleasing. Whereas Krishna's pastimes are not like this. They are permanent, eternally beautiful always. That is the point. So, in that way, we can see Krishna is trying to make us understand that the pastimes, what he comes and displays for us, is to attract them and tell us, don't be interested in this so-called mundane beauty, attraction, and all these things. Come back to me, because whatever way you go on in the material world, it will never satisfy us. Right? So, the mundaners take Krishna's pastimes as ordinary activities. They bring down Krishna's level as their own level, as mundane level, as material level. That is the problem. So Prabhupada is trying to explain that particular philosophical aspect in this particular point. Thus, in despair, they ask how truth and beauty can be accommodated at the same time. Because in their experience, what is beautiful right now is not going to last for long. Right? It is not going to really satisfy them forever. So in that way, they always see there is incompatibility in the material world with regard to whatever they're experiencing and whatever they're expecting. Their expectations and experiences are always, not matching. Whereas, in fact, in the spiritual realm, the experiences and expectations are always very much, in line, because that is how spiritual world is. Mundaners do not know that the whole spiritual entity is a beautiful person who attracts everything. Right? The whole spiritual entity means the complete personality, this whole fire. The complete fire is that Krishna is that wonderful, attractive personality, is attracting everyone in the material world. They are unaware that he is the prime substance, the prime source and fountainhead of everything that we. Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Krishna is the source of everything, is source of us also. So in fact, he's attracting everyone and everything, but we are not aware of these aspects. We are completely in ignorance. In fact, everything what is going on in the material world also, it's for his pleasure, but we are not aware of this. We are thinking everything should happen for my pleasure. We are thinking that way. The infinitesimal spiritual sparks, being parts and parcels of that whole spirit, are qualitatively the same in beauty and eternity. Again, requires some explanation. So we are all part and parcel of this supreme Satchidananda personality. Satchidananda means ever-existing, full of knowledge and full of bliss. We are his amsha, we are his parts. Namayavamsha jivaloke, jivabhuta sanatana. So we are also Satchidananda quality. Just like a huge, vast ocean, every drop of that ocean water also is having same chemical quality as the entire ocean. Quality-wise, they are same, but quantity-wise, it is different. The ocean is huge, whereas a small drop of water is very minuscule, infinitesimal. So likewise, we are also a small anu, small particle of spirit, having the same quality as Krishna, but our position is very infinitesimal, means very small. That is the only difference is that the whole is eternally the whole, and the parts are eternally the parts. That is the difference. Otherwise, we cannot equate ourselves with Krishna. That is wrong understanding. Sorry. Both of them, however, are the ultimate truth, ultimate beauty, ultimate knowledge, ultimate energy, ultimate renunciation, and ultimate opulence. Right? Actually, a spirit soul, we're all having the same quality as Krishna. And Krishna is very happily associating with all of us in the spiritual world. Although written by the greatest mundane poet or intellectuals, any literature that does not describe the ultimate truth and beauty it's like, the store of tool and is but a store of loose tool and vomit of the relative truth only. Right? So we have so many books, so many novels, so many stories right now, films, the TV serials and films made. All of these things, if they are not describing about the real beauty, ultimate truth and beauty, is a store of loose tool and vomit of the relative truth. It's mundane truth. That's the point. Real literature is that which describes the ultimate truth and beauty of the absolute. Bhagavatam is that literature, Bhagavad Gita is that literature which describes the ultimate truth and beauty of the absolute. And also, when you understand about absolute, you also will know our situation, because we are part of the absolute. It's like the example is given, when you come out to see the sun, you can see the sun as well as yourself. Right? So with this, we try to conclude this session. I request all of you to give your comments and any questions in the comment box, as this session is hosted in the YouTube and Facebook. We'll try to answer them once we get your questions or comments. So with this, we close the session today. Thank you, everybody. We'll come up with a new topic in the next week, next Sunday. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.